Now we turn from music to storytelling, and a unique evening of storytelling is coming to East Clare Balor Otherworld. Will be bringing tales from the land, the old ways and beyond to the Alfa Steiner Secondary School in East Clare today. The evening promises stories inspired by Irish mythology and folklore with themes of nature, imagination and the rich traditions of Ireland's Otherworld. And joining us to tell us more about the event that's going to be happening on Saturday is the storyteller Tommy Lanigan, A.K.A. Balor Otherworld. Tommy, good morning to you.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very, very well, and despite the non-summery conditions outside, but I guess if ever there was a time of year to be pulling the curtains and listening to stories to block out what's happening outside, it's now. So tell us about what's going to be happening on the 13th, and is this something you've done before in terms of bringing it to schools?
Yeah, I've done storytelling in schools in I think maybe 18 counties at this stage. So it's what I try and do is research local to the school. So often I'll be contacted several weeks in advance, which gives me time to research. And I suppose taking the approach that Ireland is becoming more multicultural. You have a lot of families who are maybe one parent is Irish, one is Spanish or Polish or something.
You know all about that.
I do. Or you have families who've come over and from anywhere in the world, and it's to give people a sense of place, because we don't always realise that storytelling or folklore, it grounds people in the space that they live in. And my concern would be that if we don't pass on what previous generations had, then all of our heritage sites, all of these important locations that have been preserved won't be preserved, not because people are willfully damaging them or thinking they're irrelevant, but because they're not aware of them and how important they are, not just to Ireland, but some of our stories have had kind of huge reach internationally into books, movies, TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, so much so that people worldwide mightn't even realise the likes of Dracula and all that originate from Ireland. And it's an interesting point you make there, Tommy, that for people who, you know, born and grown up in Ireland, you don't want them to lose out on those stories of the past, but also for newer arrivals to the country to feel more of a connection to Ireland and be more invested, and just be, I guess, they mightn't be as aware of the old tales and myths and fables of days gone by in Ireland. It's a great way to introduce them into all of that.
Yeah, I never stop. It never stops for me. I'm always finding new stories. So, like, there's one, a lot of people ask me about, you should critique, you should do something on Donald Trump with the hotel in Doonbeg, and I'll be probably killed for doing this. But there was a bard who wrote a piece in the 1700s based on the sand dunes in Doonbeg. And it's about Don, the god of death, who is actually the god of death in Irish mythology. Yes, so I've been working.
That's too on the nose.
Yeah, I know. I'm working on incorporating it. So his kingdom, his kind of magical kingdom, is hidden in the sand dunes, and the story is about him kind of falling into, falling from grace, I suppose. So there's weird parallels there with our stories sometimes.
I was going to tell you, Tommy, there'll be Don fans texting in ASAP, so we'll forward them on to you.
Thanks.
That's one of the many tales. That must be amazing that, you know, we think there's so many old stories and fables out there that you think, God, the pipeline must be exhausted at this stage. But no, because we forget them, we lose them, and also there's new ones being created all the time. Like, I was on Inishmaan yesterday, so I had a group out on tour with me. We took out the boat from Rossaville, and the story I tell them is, so my godmother Geraldine, she's from the island, so it's a relative of hers, Mary Foley, went to America. When she died, she wanted to be brought back in the late 60s to be buried on the island, and she was flown into Shannon, and then they hired a helicopter company to fly her. She fell out of the helicopter, landed in Paradise, County Clare. That's what they said. And they reattempted Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but I mean, how can you not?
I know. They reattempted it a second time, and she fell into the sea, apparently. But there's another kind of story, which again I probably shouldn't be saying, but that she wasn't in the coffin. It was actually guns been smuggled over for the IRA. So that'll become folklore, in another generation or two. So these things kind of, where we don't know exactly what the truth is, people kind of start to kind of fold it into the mythology. So there's always new stories kind of coming out.
I don't know which is the more preferable option there, the guns of the IRA or Mary falling out into the sea. Where does anyway? Just shows you the kind of tales and stories and fables that Tommy can find. And on Saturday, when you're bringing something like the evening of stories to the Alfa Steiner Secondary School. It's taking place at a secondary school, but I think it's from 7:30 in the evening. I'm sure there'll be children there, but there'll be adults as well. So how do you kind of tailor the evening stories for that both young and old can appreciate, stories connected to East Clare, or maybe that's an element of it, but you have more general stories from around the county or beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go in with a couple of set stories that I have an idea. I'm pretty confident they'll be used, but then I try and base it off the audience, like what are they going to be interested in, because every audience group is different. Some people might be very into the folklore, the fantasy element, or believing in the stories, in the spirits. Other people will be more maybe skeptical, so I try and make it that it's approachable for everybody and people can kind of take what they want. So I often talk about Biddy Early because there's just so much. She's someone I've studied for years and years and years, and there's just so much information I have. And
she's just one of those iconic Clare characters, isn't she, as well?
Yeah, exactly. And then Avel, I've done a lot of research on Avel. Earlier this year I had been contacted several times by people from America and England, some of them writing books to talk more about her. So she's one of the main figures in the Brian Merriman piece, The Midnight Court. So she's the judge in that. So she was probably a goddess in North Munster, and then later they combine her with Brian Barew's story as the woman who foretells his death at the Battle of Clontarf. So there's a lot to her around Killaloe, but most of it has been forgotten about. So it's just trying to keep the bits that we still have.
Okay, so plenty for people to be interested in on Saturday evening. If people want to head along to the storytelling event at the Alfa Steiner Secondary School, is the tickets pay at the door? How does it work?
Yeah, there'll be an Eventbrite. I have to put it up today. I've been on tour, so I'm behind on.
Fair, as you say, you were on Ishman yesterday, so you've clearly been busy.
Yeah, and I'm working on a book for. It's the 300-year anniversary of a man called Sean the Saggart, who was killed. He was a notorious priest hunter in County Mayo, up around Ballintober. So I want to write a kind of short story and have that ready for release. So I'm looking at probably self-publishing that and just doing, if people are able to support it, great, and we'll do another one after. But his story is amazing because he spent 16 years killing priests basically for money. He was like a bounty hunter for priests.
God, I'd say his there's no place in heaven for him, that is for sure. Anyway, it's not the only book you're working on, though.
No, I've a few. I've been dipping in and out of something on Biddy Early. It's kind of a modern story where there's a kind of crime case, police investigation or Garda investigation here in Clare, and the guards have to unravel it because it's tied to Biddy Early's past. Someone trying to do a healing. My mind goes to dark places sometimes with these stories. And the other
creative places, Tommy, creative.
Yes, that's right. And the Fair Goethe. The Far Goethe, so the Hungry Man. So that's one. Again, I've written. It's about 90,000 words at the moment.
Related to the famine.
It's all about the folklore that came from the famine. So trauma, often when we have a traumatic experience that's too painful for people to talk about, we mask it with storytelling. So it's approachable. So that's what I've been kind of working on. It's kind of more in the line of a Game of Thrones novel, I think, with several storylines and several different plots for characters.
So who says men can't multitask? He's just been working on the 3 books. That's all. As well as telling stories left, right, and centre as well. Anything else happening in the immediate future following Saturday that you want to alert people to? Any other appearances anywhere that people might be interested in?
Yeah, in August we'll be doing around Heritage Week. There'll be an event on in Quinn with the community there, because they've just got the kind of a virtual tour. So I'll be there because I lent my voice a couple of weeks ago to the kids version of the tour. Okay. So it's going to be a kind of a very unique thing that very few places in Ireland will have, and the community is just fantastic in Quinn. And then we're celebrating a local storyteller in Kilfenora, Paddy Hines. I think it's around the 16th of August, something like that. We'll be posting about it soon. But it's celebrating the art of storytelling in all its forms. So I'll be involved with that up in Kilfenora as well. So there'll be a few other bits coming up in the meantime. Okay, people can keep abreast anyway of anything and everything that you're doing. You've got the socials and Facebook page and all that. Yeah, that's it. Social, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for longer videos. So with all the stuff going on in Belfast, I was there with kind of an arts bursary a couple of weeks ago, and I just filmed some stuff on the city. So I think I'll be posting that in the next week, just to kind of combat the negative. Just there's so much negativity right now. Yeah, it's easy for it to be painted in a certain light, in light of in recent events. Although having said that, Tom, when you said I was in Belfast, I was hoping you weren't going to say the last day or two. No. It's a huge issue, and even I've been talking to bus drivers, and they're all concerned about where to park in the city. Can they bring their groups in? So it's just. I don't want that to become the entirety of the narrative.
No,
I think
of course not.
We can try and look at, what's wonderful about the city as well. So
yeah, and look, having been there a number of times, it is a fantastic city. But we will be touching on events in Belfast with our Friday panel tomorrow. Tommy, thank you as ever for coming in. And just by the way, if you're looking for more information on what Tommy's up to, it is Balor Otherworld. That's BALOR. But we'll let you get back to. I was going to say maybe you're going to sit down on the couch and you get home for 10 minutes, but probably not by the sounds of it. Tommy Lanigan, always a pleasure having you in. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.